Okay, so what I was thinking is
Mm.
instead of creating a blog site, this is we can become more creative. Like let's build a like portfolio site. So it will be similar like blog, but
Yeah, yeah,
just name it a portfolio. Okay, so is that fine?
yeah. Fine, fine, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I have just created a folder here. So then I just open it in the VS Code.
Mm-hmm.
So and after that, so we'll start here. So we'll create a folder like backend, and we will create another folder like client where our Next.js project will go. And
Mm-hmm.
after that, so we can create a README file where we can write all steps that how we are going to proceed.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So yeah. So let's say portfolio web. So initially what we will do, so we will build our API.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, so we'll start over here.
Yeah.
I can do this thing here. So CD backend. So inside our backend, so initially what we need to do, so we need to initialize our this folder as a Node.js project. So
Mm.
for that, what we need to do, so you need to write npm init minus y hyphen y. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to write npm init minus y. So if you do that, so it will automatically create a package.json file. So as you can see here, so
Okay.
it will give you a name. So you can edit it. So you
Mm.
can give a project name if you want. So let's say we can give portfolio API,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So it's
Mm.
saying the string does not match with the. Let's just make it portfolio API. So just small letters. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, you can put the version and description if you want. And
Okay.
this is the main file of this project. So this is showing that index.js. So we can make it like server.js or whatever you like. So
Okay.
let's make it server.js. It will be make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And just rename it here also server.js. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, we can create our scripts like in Next.js, we have like a npm run dev,
Mm-hmm.
npm start, this kind of things we will create over here later on, no problem. And whenever we will install some dependency, that will be also will come over here. So this
Oh,
is the package.json file you will
okay.
get when you will do this npm init minus y.
Okay.
Okay, so
Fine.
this is the first steps. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, so for the database, we will be using MySQL, and for that, we are going to use a ORM called Prisma. Let me show you.
Mm-hmm.
So I have recently used this one, so I feel that it's kind of good, and you can also use it with the TypeScript, and
Mm-hmm.
it's give you uh, more actually the auto suggestion type thing. So it will be easier for you to actually work with it.
Okay.
So let me just go through it to this.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go to this quick start from here.
Mm-hmm.
And this ORM actually supports Postgres, MySQL, MongoDB, and actually most of the databases. So if you learn only one, then you can actually apply in 2 or 3 databases you want. Okay,
Okay.
so this is the actually good thing of it. So
Mm-hmm.
for that, we can go here, start from scratch. So
Mm-hmm.
let's just load it. Mm, mm. Okay, so we are in the start from scratch and in the relational database. And
Mm-hmm.
here, from here, we can select like JavaScript and MySQL. Let's just load it. Then I will select it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so now JavaScript and we will be using MySQL.
Mm-hmm.
After that, the documentation will be based on these two. So
Okay.
we can go there next. So it's showing that, yeah, this is we have already done npm init minus y. So
Mm-hmm.
this way actually we will initialize a Node.js project. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, we need to install this Prisma
Mm-hmm.
package as a dev dependency that we don't need it for our project, but we need it for doing some stuff. So yes, the development stuff. So we can just install
when
it.
we install something like this in dev dependency, then
Yes,
this dependency automatically gets like incorporated when we build the project.
yes. They will not be actually. Let me just tell you. When we install, then I will show you that they goes in different places.
Okay,
So
okay.
just copy this, or you can just write npm I, then Prisma, and hyphen capital D. So if you do this thing and this thing npm install Prisma minus minus save minus dep, these are the same. So instead of minus minus save minus dep, so you can write capital D. This will work the
This is
same
the
way.
short
Okay.
form.
Yes, the short form. So we can install this, and so let it install and let's move on here. So after that, actually, so as we did this npm init -1, we also need to initialize a Prisma project. So we need to make our project as a Prisma project. For that, we need to do this like and Prisma init. So we'll do that. So whenever it's and the installation is finished.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. So after that, so for make our project as a Prisma project, we can create a script here. So let's say init -p or p minus init, so that we can understand this is a Prisma script. Here we can write Prisma, and this is I'm taking from here. So npx Prisma init. So we are using inside this our package.json. That's why we don't need to use npx. Okay. So that's the thing. So we'll just copy this and we will use it here. So Prisma init. So now if we run this thing, run this script, to run a script, whenever we run any custom script, we need to write npm then run. Okay. So after that, the script name. So p minus then init. So if we do this, so as you can see, it will initialize our project like this. So a .env file. After that, yeah. So and a git ignore file. So these are the things we get. So inside the Prisma folder, so we'll as you can see, if I go there, there is a file called schema.prisma. So this is the file actually where we will design our database, like define the tables and how our tables will go. And I'll talk about these things later. Yeah. First of all, we need to actually connect our database. So we'll do that. Then we'll talk about the tables and other things. Okay. So let's see the documentation after that. So it's saying that connect your database. So next we'll connect our database. So for that, so I'm using jumps here for our MySQL server. So here it is. So and yeah, and to run the PSP-admin, let's run the Apache also, so that we can visit like this localhost /PSP-admin. Here we can create a database and then we can connect it with our the Node.js app. So for that, so see the documentation here. Okay, so here you can see. So let's see here. So in the schema.prisma, this file, this is a file for specific to the Prisma. Okay, so this is, you can see the extension is .prisma. So and for working with this file, as you can see, the keyword are highlighted and the curly braces are highlighted. The syntax is highlighted. So you will not get these things. So for getting these things, you need to install an extension. So let me show you here. It's called, I think, Prisma. So yeah, so this is the plugin you need extension you need to install. It's developed by Prisma, as you can see here. So if you install it, then you will get this syntax highlights. So it will be easier for you to work with this thing. So after that, so we need to define our provider. So we are going to use which type of database. So we're going to use MySQL. As you can see here, we can copy from here and use it here like MySQL. And also, as you can see, so if I type any something wrong, so it will give you error. That's because of that extension. So it will be easier for you that you will not make mistakes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, so we will put a database URL here. So the database URL will come from this env file. So .env. So it will automatically load from here.
Okay.
So we'll see how the database URL will look like. So this is the URL for MySQL. So we'll copy that and remove the comments and put our URL here. And here, so initially this is the driver, database driver. So we are going to use MySQL. That's why we're typing MySQL here. After that, this is the username. So my database username is root. So you will put your one here. After that, the password. So my password is empty. And then the local host and the port number. So it should be the same because this is the default port of MySQL. And after that, you will put the database name. So we can just go paste admin and create new database here. Let's say my portfolio. Now you can just select this as a general CI. That's why it will support all kind of language. UTF general CI. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, I use mostly this one only.
Yeah, so after that, so we can just copy the name of the database and paste it over here. So this is how we will just connect our database. So this database URL from in this env file, so it will go over here and it will just use this as a URL of this database. So this way it will connect. So the connection of the database is done up to this. Okay. So after that, let's see what we need to do. So yeah, these are the things. Then actually migrate things. Okay. So what you can do, we can just define a table for now. So let's say we'll define a user table first. Define a user table here. For that, so in Prisma, that table is called as model. So we'll define a model for our user. So for that, so we'll type model. As you can see, it's giving me auto suggestion, and then type, let's say, user. So then open and close curly braces, and after that, so initially, what are the properties we will have? Let's say we'll have a ID, then we'll have a username, and we'll have a password. Let's say after this, we'll have as a user. Okay. So for the ID, we will write ID first, then a space. After that, we will give this at sign. After that, if I try to write ID, okay, let's just see the documentation. Yeah. So after that, we will give the data type, then we will type this ID. So the ID should be in int type. So as you can see, int type. After that, it will be an ID. So it will be an ID. So we are telling that this will be our ID or the primary key of our this table. So that's why we're providing an ID. And after that, we will give a default value of it. So we are this way actually, that at then default. And after that, we are telling that the default value would be auto incremented. So as the MySQL nature. So this is how we will define an ID primary key. So we are telling that the name of the primary key is ID. The type of the primary key is int, the integer, and this will be ID means this will be a primary key. And after that, this is the default value of this primary key would be auto incremented. So first one is 1, then 2 and 3, you know all these things, right? So yeah. So after that, we will define the username here. And this will be a string type. So these types, if you just let's say, if you just make the cursor here, take the cursor here, and if you press Control and space, if you just press Control and then the space bar, you will get this suggestion. Okay, so from here you can just select string. So after that, the username, this should be unique because we don't want the username, the same username for two users, because we are not using an email or any other things. So we are using this username as the identifier of this user. For that, we will create an index. You can just write at, then you will write unique. So it will create a unique index for this username. Okay. So after that, we will create a password. So this will be a password and type is string. So nothing else. So yeah. So, and another thing is that, so as you can see here, so yeah. So let's say we have something that is nullable, right? Let's say we have the profile picture, profile pic. That is will be a string because this will be an URL just string. And some of the user may don't have this profile picture and some may have this profile picture. So we can make it like nullable. So this can be null, or it can have the image. is URL. So we can if you want make it something optional, so you can just put a question mark here. So this will be a optional property of this model. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll just omit this for now. So we want to make it simple so that it will be easier for you to understand things properly. So yeah, this is our user. So now we'll define another model. Let's say the portfolio model. Portfolio. So it will also have a ID similar, and after that it will have a, let's say, title. That will be a string, let's say. And what else can we have? It will have a, let's say, image URL. So if you want, if someone want to put an image, then you can, and we will make it optional, because some of the portfolio they want only the description, they don't want an image. So we can make it like this. After that it will have a description, let's say. And another thing is that if you this is also this is string, the length of this default string is around 190. So if I just show you some of things here from, let's say, so yeah, structure. So as you can see, the barcar is, the length is 100. So if you define this string here, so it will be by default 190. So we can customize that length. So we can just type at db dot, then we can type text. So this will be, description could be a text type here. So whenever, so in the MySQL, so we have a text type, right? So here, so this type would be here. So we can specify the string as a database text type. So MySQL text type this way. Okay. And if you want to change this, let's say this one 190 character to something custom, so you can write this way. So db dot, then you can type barcar, and you can specify the type, let's say 250 to 255. So this way, so you can customize this the length of this string. Okay. So we can customize these things this way. So after that, so we have user, we have portfolio, and the thing is that now we need to create a relationship, because the portfolio will belong to this user. So this so one user can have multiple portfolio, but one portfolio will have only one user. So the portfolio will belong to only per user. So we can create a, let's say, user ID here, and this will be type of this user. Okay, let me just see in the documentation how they did it. So yeah, okay, sorry. So sorry. So this type of this user ID would be an integer, the type of this ID, because we are referring this ID here. So user as user ID. Okay, so that's why this type of this user ID would be integer. So after that, so we need to make the this one as a foreign key. So for that we'll write so as you can see here, so this is the author, and they are defining as author ID. So we'll write this way, that user, so, and it will be type of this user, and we'll write, make the relationship. That's why we'll type at, then we'll type relationship, relation, and after that we'll write this way, the fields and the reference. So fields means that in this table, so which field is we are going to refer. So this is the field we are going to refer. That's why it's giving here. And on the reference would be at on the other table. What is the field? So the other table is ID, and this table here is the author ID. That's why the fields is author ID, and the reference, this author ID will refer in the other table ID. So let me show you here and now. So first of all, we will write fields, and then we will write references. So this will be the field here, because inside this table, this is our field, and for the user table, our reference is ID. So we'll put this ID over here. Okay. So and you can see, so when I saved, this line is automatically added. So when I will save it, this line is automatically added. So
Yeah.
what does it mean? That the user will can have that multiple portfolio, because the user will have the portfolio array like this.
Yeah.
And if I just cut it and save it, it will automatically add it. So this is how, this is because of this extension. So it will make your life more easier.
Okay.
So this is our first relation. We have done that the user will have a username, password, and multiple portfolio, and the portfolio will have a this information as well as this user ID, so that we can identify that which portfolio is belongs to which by which user. Okay, so we can say that our basic database design is done. So after designing this database, we need to the make the actual table here. So my portfolio here. So we don't need to do that manually. So we can use Prisma to auto generate from this schema to
Yeah.
our database. So for doing that, so we'll create another script here. So we are creating script because this will be easier for us to reuse these things instead of just typing every time here the
Yeah.
command.
Yeah.
So that's why we are creating the script. So we'll name it at pmigrate. So we'll migrate the schema to our database. So the script will be, we can check here. So this is the script, the Prisma migrate, then def minus minus name init. So this will be our script without this npx. So we'll copy and paste it over here. After that, we will run npm run p minus migrate. So if we run this, so as you can see, this the first migration is created here. So this is the timestamps when the migration is created, and this is the SQL of the whatever we define here. This will convert it into our SQL. As you can see that it's created a normal user table in SQL, and create a portfolio, then create the foreign key relationship, these things. Okay, so it will create a SQL code here, and also it will run that SQL query here. So we will see that our table are created. So in the portfolio table, we can see that ID is a primary key, title description is a text, as you can see here. Specify the custom length of the title is 255, and the US URL is by default, as I said, that it's 199, 190 or 191. Yeah, this is 191. Okay, so this is the thing. So our database is completed. It means create design is successful. So not this one, it's this one. So the user table here. So if I go to the user, this is the primary key, username and the password. And
Yeah.
also, as you can see, the username is the as a unique here. So it should be here somewhere. So as you can see here, this is the index of this primary key as unique. Okay, so and the column name is the username. So yeah, so as you can see that we write these things and it will automatically generate, and this it is actually easy to actually make this kind of relationship easily. We don't need to do, as you can see one thing here. So if we go to the my portfolio, not this one, this one. So in the portfolio, in the go structure, and if I go into relational view, as you can see, so whenever we actually delete any user, so based on that user, so it will automatically the delete. So we can make it cascade or something. So this way, whenever we delete the user, it will automatically delete this portfolio, and that's why we don't need to maintain this delete operation separately. So this will make our life more easier. Anyway, so we have done completed our design the database. So after that, we need to generate the client. So as you can see, as you can see one thing here, that we install the Prisma as a dev dependency, but we need to use it inside our this server.js file so that we can access the database, right? So that's why we need another package that is actually the client. So based on this schema, it will also generate a client for us that will give auto suggestion to us to work with in our main Node.js project. So let me just show you that thing now. So as you can see, install Prisma client. So for installing that, we are not going to install it as a dev dependency. We will be installed as our project main dependency. So this is the library name at prisma/client. So we'll install it. So So we can just install this thing. I got some error. Let's see. Showing Prisma client. It's maybe because of this. Okay, let's just make it backend because it may create the issue. Because, let's just try again. Yeah, it should work now. So it's working. So the thing is that the folder is name is here and it was is different. That's why it may create a problem. Yeah. So yeah, so it's giving some instruction here. So how we will import it and how we're gonna use it. So we'll do that later. So after that, so we can start working here. So another thing is to work with the server. So we need some dependency. So let me just tell you. So we need Express to work to create our server. So this is the thing, and we need what else we need. So yeah, so let's install Express for now. So if we need something else, we will install it later. And after that, so yeah, so to get started, so we need to import the Express first of all. So require
this you are doing
and
in the server file.
yeah, so inside the server file. So another thing is that so when we will import something in React, so we'll do in like this. So import something from something like this way, right? But when we do it in Node.js project, so we need to do it actually in different way. So actually the React is the modern JavaScript and Node.js is also actually still using the common JS thing. So yes, we can use that input stuff. So if we use TypeScript here, then we can actually do it that way. So though we are using JS file, the JavaScript, that's actually we need to do this way. So we'll declare a variable like express, and after that we will require the here. It's again giving some error. I don't know why. Express npmi express. So yeah, it's installed now. So what I was talking that, so we'll need to declare a variable, and after that we'll require the library that we installed. So if we just put a double quotation or single quotation, after that if we type some start typing like x, then you will get the auto suggestion here. So after that you can just click it. So express. So this way we'll import here. So and in React we will do this way. So import express equal from then express. So this way. So instead of doing this, so we'll do this way, constant express equal require express. Okay. So there's the first thing is different from React.
This backend we are preparing in Node.js, not in. Okay, fine.
Okay. So yeah, that's the thing. And after that, so we'll create an application. So you need to create an application. So let's say const app equal. So and write express, and this will actually give you a function and we'll just call it. So it will become an express application. Okay. After that, so we can just listen here on a port. So let's say we are listening at port 2727, and this will give you a callback function. Here we can just write that our server is running on port 2727. So now we need to run this file, this server.js. So we can just write here, right? Like, so we can create another script here. So like start and write node server.js. So we'll write whenever you will run any JavaScript file in Node. So what you need to do, so you will write node and then the name of the file. So this actually you run any file in JavaScript and Node.js. So for that, so we can run this thing now here, right? npm start, and start is actually the predefined actually script
Yeah.
here. That's why actually you don't need to mention here run, but you can do mention run also.
Yeah.
npm run start, or you can just type npm start. So as you can see, it's giving you a console log that server is running on port. So our server is actually successfully listening port
Okay.
on port 2727. So the
Okay.
server setup is done, but now we'll now need to create some routers where we will create our endpoints for the API. Okay. So this is the actually the basic. To create the server, we need to write this 3 line of code, nothing else. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So after that, so let's just create a simple router like app.get. So it's similar like that Axios. So we can write app.get, then we can write app.post. Also we can write app.put, we can write app.delete. Okay, so it's similar like that Axios. Okay, so it's very much easy. So we'll initially write app.get, and after that we will specify the URL here. So let's say the home URL, the slash. And after that, this will give you an callback function. We need to pass a callback function here, and we can pass the arrow function. And this callback function will get 2 parameters. So one is request and another one is response. So we can get the request data like the body and other things from the request object, and we can pass response from that using this response object. Let me show you. So let's say res.send. So if you just type res and keep dot, you will get all the method and things you have in the auto suggestion. Okay, so it will be easier for you. So then after that we will write res.send, and we can type right that app is working. So now if I just try it, this API, so this is our first URL or the first endpoint is that http colon localhost, then port is 2727 slash. So this is our first URL, the API we have created here. Okay. So now if I just run it in our browser, or we can use the Postman later, but for now we'll just use the browser. So as you can see, it's showing that not getting anything. Okay, so another thing is that, so we run the server and after that we edit something, right?
So we
So
should.
that's why we need to restart the server. There's the thing. So, and let's just show you first this one, npm start. So now if I reload it, we can see that app is working. Okay. But one thing is that, so if I just work on it and every time we restart the server, it's really time killing, right? So we'll use another package to make it automatically. So let me show you that thing. So we'll install another package called Nodemon. Okay, so this is called Node and then Mon. Okay, this is the package name.
Nodemon.
Okay, and yeah, so we'll use it as we'll install it as dev dependency. Okay, because we don't need it in our production server.
Yeah.
So we'll just install it as our dev dependency, and we will create a script for this thing. So here as well. So we'll write dev, and this is similar like node. What do we need to do? So we just write Nodemon instead of node. Okay, so there's a difference. So this will run and automatically restart our server whenever we change something here. Okay, so let's just install it. Then we will run the script.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, it's installed. So now we can run like npm run dep. So if I do this, as you can see, it's server running, and whenever we change something here, let's say
it is watching.
App running. Yes, it's watching there. And if we save it, as you can see, it's starting again. So now if I just reload it, so we don't need to do the restart manually. So it will automatically restart, and our app is also running here. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are the things we need. So yeah. So this is the basic server setup we need to do. So the server setup is also done. So after that, we will define our routers, whatever we need. For that, we can create a folder here called API. Just convention, so you can name whatever you want. So after that, we can inside this API folder, we will create multiple folder. Like we will create a controller folder, so like the MVC pattern. Okay, so we'll create a controller folder, and we will create a router folder where we will define all the router. And after that, we will create, and the model, usually we will create the model but the model will be generated, auto-generated by Prisma. So we don't need the model here. So the model will be auto-generated. Okay. So we don't need to manually create the model. So these are the things we need for now. And okay, so we can create router, one router for the user and one router for the portfolio. So let's create for the user first. So user, and we can actually do this kind of endpoint create. We can create multiple endpoint in this file, this server.js file. But this is actually not a good practice, because if we create a 10
that's
to
what I was
15,
going to ask you. That
So
can we remove this
yeah, we
router?
will split.
Yeah,
Yes, we'll split. So if if we define here 10 to 15 router, that it will become very much messy. That's why we will split the all our router. So that's why actually we created this folder. So we'll put all of our router here. Okay. So let's create a file called that user router here. So I actually name this way, the camel casing way, so user / router. So you can define as you like. Okay. So in this file, so we'll import something. So like, as you can see, express, first of all, require express. So after that, from express, we will get a router. So let me show you how you can get that thing. So router equal express dot, as you can see, if you type capital letter R, so it will give you a suggestion. So you can just call that function from express. Okay. So initially what we did, so we did in the server.js file, whenever we create the server or create the application, we just call this express here function as a function. And whenever we create a router, we'll call express dot then router, then call that router function. Okay. So this way actually we'll create our router. So after that, so we need to use this router in our server.js file, because we need to link this thing to here, because this is our main app which is listening to port 2727, right? So we need to take this thing and import it inside our server.js file. That's why we need to export it from here. Okay. So in Node.js, so usually what you do, so you will do like export default and then the router. So in React, we will do this way, but here we will do in different way. Like, so you will write module.exports, and after that you will write router here. Okay. Okay. So this way. So we'll not doing this way. We'll do this way, and after that, this router will be available in any file where we want to import it. So we'll import it here, and we can do this like here. Import router like constant user router, and we will require that file which we just created over here inside this router folder. So we'll go this way, like currently we are in this folder. So if I just show you the backend, so we are in this folder, this file, and we want to go inside this API and then go inside the router. So what we will do, we will give one dot and then give slash. As you can see, we are one dot means we are in the current directory. It will means that this is in the current directory. So inside the current directory, what we have, so we have API folder, we have Node.js folder, Node modules folder, we have Prisma folder, and these files. So that's why we are defining this dot, and after that we want to go this inside this API folder. So we'll write API. And another thing is, you can just press Control space bar, so you will get the auto suggestion. Okay. So Control and then hold the Control and then click on space bar. Okay. So you will get this suggestion. After that, you will click on edit and API, and after that you will click on, you will get the router folder, because our router is defined here. And after that we will get our user router. Okay. So this is how we'll import our user router. And after that, how we will connect this router with this app. That's the thing. So we need to connect this user router with our application, so that whenever we define our endpoints here, that is connected to our application. Okay. So we'll do that here. So how we'll do that? So we'll write app dot and we'll type use. Use means we are using this router inside our application. Okay. So we'll just type here that our user router. Okay. So, and another thing we need to do is that this user router, so we can have, let's say, 50 endpoints here. Okay. Endpoints here, but we want a prefix to all of our endpoints. Like, so all the endpoints, let's say this is a one endpoint like login, then we'll have a sign up. This kind of, we will have multiple endpoints here inside our user router. So we want all the endpoints should prefix like user / then login. Then it will be user / then sign up. So this kind of things we will define here, and this prefix we need to tell over here that okay, this user router should listen in on a prefix called /user. Okay.
Okay.
So this is how we'll define a router in outside of this server.js file. So you will write app.js app.use, and after that you will define that prefix, and after that you will give your this router. Okay.
Router name. Okay.
Router we import it. So in shorthand we write this way actually. So we'll cut this thing.
Okay.
And just put it here. So instead of just importing separate way, we just make it here. Okay.
Okay.
So this is actually more cleaner way. So we can do the both way as you like. Okay. So after that, so let's define some router over here. So let's define the login router. Then we'll define the sign up router. So the router will be similar like this. Okay. So how we did here? So app.get. So we'll do the same thing here. So instead of app.get, we'll just write router.get or router.post. Okay. The same thing. The same thing. This is app. This will be just router.
Okay.
And for the login, we will need a post router because we will take the username and password from the user. So we'll define a post router. After that, the same, we will define the endpoints here. So we'll write login. And because we have already defined this user over here, the user. And after that, we need to give a / then the login.
Okay.
So this thing we will write here. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Here. And after that, we will need to pass a callback function. So the callback function will have request and a response. And after that, we can just press .send to demonstrate that is a login endpoint. Okay. So now we can test this thing. Okay. So you got my point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just give you a, okay, first let's test this. So if we just go there, this is our home URL. And after that, if we just type user/login, as you can see, it's showing not get this thing. Let me check why. So this is, oh yeah, this is actually the post router, but we are in the browser, we can't give the post router. That's why it's giving the not get. So we need to use this postman. So have you used this postman?
Yeah, I use it.
Yeah. So this is for the API testing. So we'll use it and we'll check here. Another thing is that, so if you think that we're doing some demo project and I don't want to go inside the postman and come back to our app and go again in the postman, so there is a library you can see. This is called actually Thunder client. Okay. So you can just go to extension and we'll type Thunder client. A bit slow because of my internet. Actually, if you search it, then you will actually get this kind of this postman version in the inside this BS code. Okay. So this is most easy to use for a small project. So this is the, let's search here, Thunder client. So yeah, this is the HTTP client for extension for VS Code. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
So if you want, you can install it. Okay. So this is the URL logo. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you search, you will find it. Okay. So now if I just create a router here, we will create a post router. This is our URL. And if I just send it, as you can see, login endpoint. So our endpoint is working. Okay. So this is how we will actually separate our endpoint from our this server.js file. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just give you a brief overview that what we did till now. So from in the server.js file, we create a express, we import this express, then we create an application from that express. And after that, we listen to this app in port. So whatever port you like, you can put over here. So I'm putting 2727. So then if you just install Nodemon, and you can just write npm run dev. So you can get the script inside our package.json to run in development mode using Nodemon. So after that, it will run and listen or watch your server.js file. So after that, so we'll create a demo endpoint here to check that our app is running or not. So in our home endpoint. So and then we can check it inside our browser. And after that, we will create our folder here. This inside this router folder, we'll create a user router, and here we will import the express. And from the express, we will create our router and put it inside a variable called router. and you can call it in whatever you like. And after that, we will export it from here so that we can use it inside our server.js file.
Yeah.
And to use this thing, we will use app.use, and we'll give a prefix, and after that we will just import it here. Okay. That's the thing we did. And after that, to define the endpoints, we did it as app.get, app.post, app.delete, the same way. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the basic things. Okay. So if you want, if you want, we can do the sign up also like this way. And this is the sign up URL. Sign up endpoint. So you can check this thing also here. So user / sign up. So sign up is also working. So this is how actually we are going to work. And this is actually the basic thing. So actually we are almost finished. So I think we can stop up today and we can move on.
Yeah, tomorrow we can connect it to MySQL.
Yeah. So we can do the rest of the things and continue tomorrow. Okay.